Hi, Richard. I'm just setting up now. Let me just pop out this chat. Can you guys hear me? Hello, hello. Can you guys hear me or not? Aha, okay. So, some of you will know there's a clock challenge, and I'm gonna make a Doctor Who clock. It's really badly printed because it's just to copy it over with some carbon paper on a piece of lime wood. As you can see, I already started. So I haven't watched any other videos yet. I think there are about a dozen people doing it. Maybe some people in the chat. So we'll just quickly go over these lines here. Oh, 63, wow. So 63 people are doing the clock challenge. So I might as well stop now, because I'm definitely not going to be the winner. But that's important, of course. Yeah, I'm already confused with this whole spiral thing. So the idea is that every time you go around the spiral, so it starts up here, every time you go down, it goes deeper and deeper. So I have a block, I think it's about 5 centimeters, around 2 inches, maybe a little bit more. And we'll see how far down I will go. Not sure yet. And I got lost again. Yeah, I copied this image from the interwebs, of course. And I just took out some of the color to make an easier print, but now it's even more confusing than it already is. So maybe I'll mark some lines. See everything that I have to take out. Okay. Yeah, the image moved a little bit, but we'll fix that later. As you can probably tell, this is supposed to be done by the end of January. Yeah, I'm not gonna get there. I'll just make or post some photos of where I get to by the end of January. Knowing me, it's probably just gonna be whatever I do in this life. Okay, there we go. We got roughly put in the numbers as well. And if anybody's interested in carving, I'm planning on doing some basic tutorials once I get this live stuff set up right. I have some things prepared on my website, but I still have to take lots of pictures. And so on. Maybe the big ones, I forgot these here. Let's see if it did anything. Yeah, not much. Hi, Flemish Woodworker. Yeah, the stream is in English because most people here are in English, are from the UK, so or the US. So let's try and make sense of this. I'm already lost. So we have this part here, the double one. As you can probably tell already, I didn't really prepare anything, as usual. But we'll get there somehow. Completely lost. All right, let's see. So here we have the 12. There's the 1, 2, 3. So this should go like this. This has to go away. A little bit smaller here. Like that. And then as usual, we'll just wing it. Something like this. This will be the edge of the clock. So 11 goes here. 9, or the 10, sorry, around here. Nine. Oops. Part of the 7 and the 6. Perfect circle, right? Okay, so I have to take out all that, all this. And here to go into the point. So all this needs to be lower as well. All right, so how am I going to clamp it? Will this move? Let's see. Oh, it's quite all right. So what I'm using now is a V tool. I'll show it to you. I have to wait a little bit because the stream is lagging. Come on. Yep. And it's a 12/6, which means the width is 6 millimeters and the depth is 12 millimeters. And we do this to make a nice edge. And you keep the one side straight, and that's the clean side. And the other side is the side that's going to be waste. As you can see, a little bit close up. This side is nice and straight, and this side may splinter out depending on what wood you're using. But that doesn't matter since it's the waste side. I'm going to try and clamp it. Or maybe just put a clamp on there. Some high quality live streaming here. Some clamping action. Oh, it's lime wood, David. Yeah, it says so on the side, but you can see it. I believe it's also called whitewood or linde in Dutch. It's pretty soft and it carves really well. Yeah, of course I set up all the way at the end of the bench, so close to the wall, to make it easy on myself, as usual. So I'm just going to quickly define what needs to be cut out. Was anybody here in the chat? Yeah, sorry, Steve. I'm just knocking around here. Maybe I can lower the volume, or maybe you can lower the volume. That might be easier. Or you can just stop whining. That's not going too far because this needs to be a circle, which it definitely is not at the moment. Oh, why did I do this? Okay. So a good skill to learn when you're carving is doing it with both hands. You should definitely try to get into that from the start. I'm left-handed, so you can probably see the difference. I'm not that good with my right hand. But luckily the lime wood is quite soft, so you don't really need much power. You can control it easily. Okay, so that needs to go. That needs to go as well. Yeah, so as you can see, it carves very easy, especially with good sharp tools. There we go. Check the chat. Any questions? Spoon carving. Yeah, I haven't done any spoon carving. But I know somebody that does. I'll link him in the description later. Okay. So next we'll need to figure out where the spiral goes deeper. So this is the upper layer up until here. And from here down, it starts to go a little bit down. And from here again, this is 12 again here. Let me use a bit more so you can see better. And for the next 12, because then it starts to get smaller. And 12 is here, like that. And then again here. Somewhere here or there, I don't know. So then take a pretty flat gouge, which in this case is a 320. So it's 20 millimeters and 3 millimeters deep. Perfect for this kind of thing. And darn it, I'm really close to the wall. Alright. So you shouldn't do this. So do as I say, not as I do, kind of thing. Don't carve towards yourself, because if you slip, that would be very nasty. Okay, let's start. So this is a halfway point, then it should go a little bit deeper from here, from there, from there, and from somewhere over here. And I forgot to do these lines. Let's do them first. So normally when I start carving, I prepare a little bit more. But I kind of decided this afternoon to do some carving. And I thought I still had a clock mechanism that I could take apart and use, but it's this one, so it's a little bit small. So that won't be good. Just have to order another one and hope it still makes it here in time. But probably won't. use to here. Let's make a little mark at the halfway point here, so we have something to work to. And as you can see, I'm not really paying any attention to the grain, which is why this part isn't really clean. But it's just the roughing out now, so I don't really care. But you really should actually. See, here it starts grabbing, and then it tears off, so you have to go from the other side. Or from the side, that works as well. No, can't do it. So as you can tell, it was kind of useless to put in all the numbers and stuff from the beginning, since you're going to carve it away anyway. But I like to do that just to get an idea of how it will look. And in this case, since the spiral was already confusing enough with this bad print, the other side, which you could go a little bit narrower. So this is a 3/8, it's the same depth but a little bit narrower. Like that. Probably got a nice movie at the back of my head there. Flemish woodworker, this is a lende, so lime it. Oh, and I guess I just nicked some wood somewhere, cut myself a little bit. It's all part of the game, I guess. So this part needs to go deeper again. Oh yeah, and if you're gonna go into carving or start carving, you're gonna use harder woods. Don't do this, hitting it with the palm, or don't do it a lot, because it can actually damage the nerves in the palm of your hand, and that's very painful and requires surgery to fix. So, but again, do as I say, not as I do, I guess. Not that I'm the expert. And this is pretty soft wood, so it doesn't really matter that much. Let's see. Let's blend this together. And the other nice thing about the V tool is, besides carving out the shapes, you can also give yourself a depth to work to. There we go. Oh, so that means that the entire spiral is going to be too small for this gouge. Perfect, just in order. To make it easier for myself. There we go. So now it's pretty much the same depth, which isn't good. It needs to go deeper. So we go back to our V tool and define another edge that's deeper. It might be easier just to take out the entire middle, but like I said a couple of times already, it's pretty confusing enough without that, so I think I'm just gonna go a little bit at a time. And just follow the spiral down. Yep, again, not a good idea to carve towards yourself. It's supposed to be a circle. There we go. I'll just leave this because I don't know what to do with the middle yet. Let's quickly see if there are any questions. Yeah, well, I'm a bit of a Doctor Who fan, so I thought, why not? And probably, if there are 63 people making clocks, probably half of them is going to turn one, so why not do something a little bit different? Okay, so let's define this. Yeah, normally you would carve away the waste part first, but I think in this case I'll keep it a little bit longer. That helps me see the spiral. And then I have some place to make errors. A bit of a buffer. So it's going to go down a lot deeper. Don't do that. There we go. So this is okay, that's not too deep. And this part needs to go a lot deeper. That's it's already too narrow. Now you can see why they sell so many different gouges. Because it would just be easier if you had something in between the 20 and the 8. But yeah, just have to carve a little bit more. If there are any questions, feel free to ask. I'll check the chat every now and then, and I'll go over it when the stream is done. And if I missed it, I'll try to contact you later. Or you can just send me a message, that would be even easier. And I'll try to answer if I can. So what was it? Here's a 12. Go from the other side again. It's twisting here a little bit, so it needs to go deeper in the middle. Yep, don't do that again. To remind myself every time. There we go. Yes, Steve, I will try to do some beginner carving stuff. But I was looking for a decent and cheap set, because these are file tools, and I think this one is 25 or 30 euros. These are around 20. So for 520, which is just a little bit deeper. So just these three would be 70 to 75 euros already. So if you just want to try carving, I think it's a little bit too expensive for a lot of people. So then I had the brilliant idea, covered in dust. I'll order something from, let's call it an overseas shop, from far, far away. And this came. I thought it would probably not be good, but maybe it's good enough to do some beginning stuff. And it really isn't. It's like aluminium or something. It's really, really soft. I tried to sharpen it, and as you can see, it's already gotten a lot shorter. I just stopped because I just kept going and I don't really get a good edge. If I try to carve, yeah, it just tears out, and you see it's way too thick already as well. But if you get it that thin, then it just breaks off. So that was a waste. But I didn't expect much, because this entire set was, I think, 14 euros. So you couldn't even get one of the file ones for that. But at least I got a nice, oh, it's really big, 4-way file and rasp. But at least I think it might be nice. So this one was a bust. You might, if you're interested in getting some tools, you might look into Beavercraft. They have some reasonable tools, I believe around 60 euros for a set of 4 or 5 gouges. But I'm still looking around to find some nice ones. So let's get this down a little bit more, or a lot more. Oh yeah, that's another nice tip for beginners. Normally, if you hold a normal chisel, bench chisel, I'll just get one. Yeah, it's another cheap set, I know, but just an example. You would hold it here to hit it, maybe a little bit lower, but mostly you would hold it by the handle, weirdly enough. With a carving chisel, you hold it by the metal and sideways. That way you have a lot more control with your wrist. So you can carve off. If you would do it here, then you don't have any control, it just goes everywhere. But if you hold it deeper, just put a little bit of pressure there and rest, you can all do it with your wrist. Let's see, from Steve, there's a question. Was the first relief cut put there to use as a stop cut? Yes. So it serves a couple of purposes. It defines the edge of what you're making. It prevents chip out, which is very important as well. So yeah, those two were the most important things. And I also use it as a depth gauge in this case to see how deep the spiral should go. But mostly it's indeed for preventing chip out. If you would carve it, if you would remove the sides, say you're doing relief carving, you just use a V tool or V gouge, I don't really know the proper term. Go around it like that and just go deeper and deeper. And then with a flat gouge, you just come from the side like this. And you work to the depth of that V cut all the way around. See, and then you can define your edge, and you can just keep going, go a little bit deeper. And grab it a little bit. And that's how you get around things. And let's see if I have some examples. Here it's a pretty classic example of a seashell, which is very dirty because of all the dust here. That's how you would do it. So you first go around and it's called grounding. Go to the depth that you want all the way around. In this case, it was around half the thickness of the block. That's also lime, and it's dirty because it was glued to the wall. And you do that with most carvings. This one is another example. It's in canthus leaf. Also a good exercise. Let's see if there's another one. Sorry for the arms in view. This is one of the first things I did in class. Little flowers. I see supposed to do some more, but I was already bored. And in this case, some triangles, which I'll show as well in the basic carving tutorials when I get around to them. This you can do with chip knife. So chip carving is just well of this as well, which can be very nice around the edge of a bowl or something. Or on the other side, there were some flowers as well with the chip carving techniques. Looking for the first. Oh, here it is. This is the very first exercise, so it's a little spoiler alert. Just using your V tool without any hammer, just to, as you can see, my very first lines, and ignore the glue lines, aren't very clean. And there's another leaf there in the back. Just to clear some wastes. Okay. I rub it up. And Jixie and Steve and John and everyone else I missed. Yeah, I don't have an earworm, so I kind of have to learn to watch the chat a little bit more, I guess. Hi, Eva. Yeah, I have a little pretty heavy voice, but it probably is a crappy microphone as well. Oh, it's also helpful if you put your chisels down or gouges down. You always put them with the sharp end at the same in the same direction. Yeah, don't look at this because this is just how you store it. And you put it from small to big. So let's see. Yes, you can see it. This was right. So 3/8, 5/20. If you start doing that and you just make a habit out of it, it's easy to grab the right one. If I want to go, in this case you can easily see it, but if you have many of them, like say I have a 5/8, it already gets a little bit harder to see. But if you do that 5/8, and then I have a 7/4, so it's easier to grab the right one without having to look every time. Let's just put that away. 20 to 5 in this case. Yeah, it's just, but it's probably not from cutting. It's probably just a nail that's torn a little bit. I have that sometimes. Trust me, if you cut yourself, there is a lot more blood than just this, because this stuff is sharp. If you do it right, of course. And actually, you don't really have to sharpen them that often. I have these for 6 years or something. I sharpen them maybe once a year, if that, depending on if you use a lot of hardwoods, then yeah. Like, let's see if we have a piece of that here. Yep. This little bugger, if you want to carve that, yeah, you can see it's really, really hard. It splinters. And it has a lot of silica in there. I did one tiki in it, about 40 centimeters. And every hour or two I had to resharpen my gouges. And by the end, some of them were more like saws. So it all depends on what you're doing. So you definitely don't want to do that with cheaper tools, or you will be spending most of your time sharpening even more. That's, you can probably already tell it takes a while doing it by hand. If you just use a Dremel or some kind of bird tool, that will go really quickly. But there's something nice to it. It's almost like meditation or something. Really calming. See if I can get the big one in there. Yes. Okay. It looks about right to start. You can also come in from the side like this. And then cut it off like that. So again, there are several ways to cut this off. You can see, create a little chip. like this, you could cut it off like that, but that's a bit difficult because if you cut like this, then you cannot really control the depth. In this case, it doesn't matter because I'm going to go a lot deeper. But you probably want to go from the side either with a V tool and cut it off like this. Create another one. Or with the side of a gouge, or the corner of a gouge, you can do the same thing. But it's a little bit more difficult. Let's see. So you don't really need the V tool. I suppose you could do it all with a gouge like that, but it's going to take a lot more time and it's going to be a lot less precise. I'll quickly check the chats. Oh, there's some banana talk in there again. Oh, a Tim Burton clock. Now there's an idea. What would that look like? Some Edward Scissorhands, maybe, for the hands of the clock. Maybe little Jack Skellingtons for the numbers. Whatever it's called. Oh, I forgot this one here. And you can probably already tell that I'm not really used to doing lives. So if there's anything that bothers you or you think I can do better, feel free to let me know. Nope, I missed something. Let's see, the third one. Let's need to go more to the inside. And this. This needs to go down a lot more as well. Just to make it very clear. Oh, careful. If you don't have V tool, you see it's already lifting everything up. If you go too deep too quickly with a gouge, it will tear out. So I'll fix it by getting rid of the chip, like that. And defining the edge again with a V tool. Are there any questions? Can we go through the chats? Oh, my chat isn't scrolling. Perfect. And it's on top chat again. Excellent. Just the way we like it. No, no questions. All right. And normally, if you're not demonstrating or putting yourself against the wall here, like I did, which is quite stupid, you have a narrower bench, you can walk around it. It goes a lot quicker than just having to constantly switch. But I guess everything for the fans. That's another thing you don't want to do in harder woods. You see me flicking away these chips. You don't want to do that in like oak, or even worse, the tropical woods, because then you will definitely get splinters in your fingers. But the slime is pretty soft, it breaks easily. Which is why it's a very good wood to start carving. Or to learn to carve. It's also very good for coloring, it does really have a lot of grain. It can have some ripples like here. Usually it's quite subtle. Forget about that. Okay. And this side. Oh, see, I shouldn't have done that. It cracked already. But it's okay, as long as there's wood, we can fix it later. That definitely would be easier if the camera was up just a little bit higher. Let's do a time check. 20 past 8 or past 7 for you guys. Is it okay? And Steve has another live tonight. I think it's 9:30 for you. So we still have some time. Let's take off this bulk already. I have some idea what I'm doing. There we go. Yeah, it might be easier just to do the white spiral and then cut out the waste later. Why didn't I think of that? Yeah, so again, don't carve in your own direction, in the direction of your body, because if you slip, you'll stab yourself. And there will be blood. These things go really deep. Oops. And that is why I like to use a mallet usually, because you can control the force you put behind it a lot better. Stuff away. Yeah, no, even normally I would put it actually not on a corner, or a corner that's free, so we can walk around it. But yeah, I was more concerned with setting up the cameras and getting that to work. And then you get punished for that, of course. And I can use a mallet straight on because then I will hit the camera. And I can use it on that side, so very good positioning. Don't put it in the middle because it will resonance. Oh yeah, but if you have a sturdy workbench, doesn't matter. It can move a little bit. It's okay. Well, yeah, don't mind this. The bench won't really move that much. Let's see. Let me find this again. So there, this needs to be a little bit deeper. This is two. And then you see it starts chipping because I have to go the other way. Yeah, normally if I'm carving, I wouldn't go that deep with the V tool either, because if you go very deep, the deeper you go, let's see, put it here. The deeper you go, the more the wood will work against you, and then you can go off your mark. But you can already see that it's not a quick process. So if I would take little cuts, then would be here for 3 days and you wouldn't see any difference. Okay, check the chats. Oh damn, this thing is scrolling. If there are any questions, put it in caps or something. Or put question in front of it so I can see it. It's lagging a little bit. And this is what you want if you're carving. Show you. See, if you do it right and you have nice sharp tools, this doesn't need any sanding or almost no sanding. So it's only for weird shapes that you should use some sanding, or that's the ideal at least. Mostly being impatient like I am, I will do quite a bit of sanding. And I tend to do weird stuff, so, or really, really tiny stuff. And it's sometimes easier to fix it with a little bit of sandpaper. Okay, so we're starting here, it goes down, this is too high as well. And here's bump. It needs to go away. Yeah. Story on sand. Ringworm, yeah, maybe. Although I think it would look a little bit more scary than this. This needs to be wider as well, but here there's a little, you cannot see it now anymore. There should be a little ring of waste, which is this side, here this waste and this waste. Which I still have to figure out how I'm going to do it. If I'm going to cut it deeper or I don't know yet. Maybe put it on the same level, going down, but add some texture or something. Oops, and there it's cracked, but that's okay. Needs to go a lot deeper anyway. Oh, that's nice, Eva. Maybe next time I'll, because I have no idea how to add you now quickly. Because we can, if you want to do that, definitely next time. Add some CA glue, yeah. Or some regular wood glue is fine, but in this case it doesn't matter because this will have to go a lot deeper anyway. Because every time we go around the clock, it will go deeper and deeper and deeper. So we might end up, let's see, 1, 2, 4. So we might end up about halfway. So this depth. And you can use CA glue, but it's a little bit brittle. It can come loose, especially if you're carving let's say this here one here, let's crack, try and lift it. Yeah, so that if you would glue that with CA glue, next time you're carving around it would probably just break off again. But wood glue is a lot stronger when it's actually fully cured. But CA glue is quicker, so. I'm not going to respond to that, sorry. Was that the girlfriend's fault or your fault? I don't know. So this is looking quite good, at least to start. This needs to be a little bit flatter. And that's go around. Yeah, and here it goes. This is very smooth and very, what do you call it, soft, I guess. Doesn't go very steep, but here it goes way too steep. So I need to remove some here. There we go, that's a lot better. Okay, so this side's will go down. I cannot reach it. Let's do it the brute force way. If I define this, so the spiral, yeah. If I define this with the V-tool, let's reach it or not. Oh, like that. Then I can just put my chisel here and go a little bit deeper like that. So as you can see, it can go quite fast as well if you want to, as long as you have a V-cut to control your depth and stop the chip out. There we go. I'll put another one in so I can see the spiral again. Let's see. Yeah, you probably noticed it's not going to be an exact copy. I don't really do that. It's much more fun to just make it up as you go along. And then you're always right. It doesn't have to be exact. Which is also why I don't really like to do multiples of the same thing, because the first one is always correct, but the second one has to be a copy, of course. But that being said, I still want to do a chess set one day, which is like a lot of copies of the same thing. No, can't do that. Whoops, I just hit the camera. Oh, there's a question in here, very enterprise. That is actually a very good question, Rob. I didn't even think of that. That is a really good question. Probably would have made a lot more sense to start the other way around, making the center the highest part. Interesting. Or I can do it like I'm doing now, because I don't really have another option except starting over. I could put the hands on a little razor in the form of what would be best. Probably the TARDIS. Was actually a very good point. Then a small dome. Yeah, I could do that as well. Oh. Thanks, Dark. They're file tools, Swiss tools. But I think what they're called, schaaf tools, I think, or in the US. There's another company that makes tools that look very, very similar, but I haven't tried them yet. As this is just a set that's really good and expensive enough already that I don't really want to buy any other sets if I don't have to. Okay, so here, find this a little bit more. So this is the inside. Yeah, so you always have two sides. You have the inside and the outside of this little curve. And this is the inside and this is the outside. So you have to carve another one here. Otherwise this would be way too wide. And they can meet up here. Oh. Different color wood in the center. Yeah, I could do that. I'm thinking, so clock faces I will keep the same color. And I might, will definitely texture the, I call them waste at the moment, but whatever, this part of the spiral, and I might color that as well to make it stand out a little bit more. But again, it's definitely not going to be finished by the end of January, as usual. Yeah, I should be a little more careful here because you're getting at the top of the grain, so it will chip out. Try not to hit the camera again. There we go. So spiral starts here. This needs to go deeper. This is about right, I think. Just to make it flat. So this needs to go down from there to here, and it's also a little bit high on the sides. It's to be too. See if I can reach it. Yes. So this middle part is a little bit too high as well. I don't know if it looks hard for you guys, but it really isn't that hard. You just have to know a few techniques and then practice, of course. It helps if you can visualize stuff in 3D. If not, then it's a lot more difficult. Especially at the beginning. Once you have some dimension to it, it's fine, but planning it out, if you're planning, it's a little bit more difficult. Beer clock, yeah. Yeah, that was actually my other idea, was to make a doomsday clock, but couldn't really think of a nice design for that. Maybe if there's another clock challenge next year, and this one is finished by then, which is actually a good possibility that it's not going to be. But let's see. Maybe we can do that next year then. Is there a winner prize? I don't know. I don't think so. I think it's just for fun. I planned it out just as well as I planned this out. I watched the video and he said there's a clock challenge. I said, I'm in. And then, well, now I have to do it. And there's another challenge going on, but I think there's going to be a monthly one. What is that called again? Maybe somebody knows. And this month's theme is fire. Hi, Douglas. I don't know, it's something 2021. And same thing there. I said yes, and then I realized, oh wait, I still have to make a clock. And it's for January. But fire is, I think, a little bit easier. Maybe turn something and just light it on fire, and there we go. All right, so let's do the center parts. Go a little deeper here. And then we just go like this. fighting me again, of course. You have to change direction. Normally I would come in from that side, but and I let it up against the wall. Maybe I'll quickly show that. Normally if you're carving a circle, you'll see the grain is running this way. If you're carving circles, you always want to go downhill. So divide it in 4 in your head, and you carve that way, and that way, that way, and that way. Because the fibers are going like this. If you carve in that direction, then you have some support here, and if you carve the other direction, then it would break off. But I'll explain that in more depth if it's needed in the beginner tutorials. And for the insides, it's the other way around. So if you want to carve around it, so this is the part, the circle is the part you're going to keep. But if you want to carve out the inside, do the same thing, and then you carve the other way, like that. Always have to think about it. Yep. Is that right? Yeah, I think so. Yep. Alright, so back to our spiral. This is definitely not good yet. And here we need to go a lot deeper. Okay. Probably have to make it a little bit wider as well, but I can do all that when the spiral is finally defined. Yeah. Yep, cut into the side again. But it doesn't matter, because it still has to go a lot deeper anyway. Okay. Is it in half an hour that you're going live, or in an hour? So let's see this way. I think this is a little bit high as well. I can do that later. This is okay. This is a little bit high. Or too shallow, whatever you want to call it. Bye Robert, bye Steve, bye Leona. I'm going to check if there are any questions. Oh, come on, chat. Yeah, so here this is going to be a problem because this is way too thin, this side. So that's 1, 2, 3. Maybe that's easy to number on. And here there's a 4th even. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's actually quite okay. This is the last one. So it has to go something like this. And it comes to a point here, since the clock mechanism is going to go here. Okay. Oh yeah, for spoon carving, I think it's Mora knives are used a lot, which Eva will tell you all about, since they're Swedish. And some hook knives. I think File has some hook knives as well. But for knives, I'm usually more a fan for flex cut, actually. No, this is a bit dangerous. It's going to chip out. There we go. See, the video you can really clean up those edges and the sides as well. So time check. It's 9, so almost 2 hours in, and I have 1 spiral. So you see, it will take some time. That's why I don't sell any carvings on markets or anything, because nobody's gonna pay you a nice amount per hour. You just cannot charge that. Nobody will pay that unless it's some fancy art piece or something. So if you want to sell some carvings, it's probably better to do power carving. There we go. touch it again. So do you want to, is it in half an hour your Steve's live or an hour and a half? I'm probably not gonna drag it out too much longer since it's really starting to cool down here. So I should have gone the other way. And I'm rushing too much. See, I did some undercutting here. I don't know if you can see that. Which isn't what I want. So I'll just cut it out. So this needs to go a lot deeper. This is fine. And this one is good as well, but there's still a bump here. There we go. Well, it's a little bit tilted in that direction, but I can fix that later. It's mostly the spiral that I want to get done now. Okay, here's another bump. There we go. And some more here. This one needs to go deeper. Since we have to go way deeper on this side. Yeah, see, for the curves, this one is too shallow. Was the word I was looking for. So we can go to the 5, which will work up until here. And then a 7. And I have all the way up to a 9, 9, 10, which will be perfect for the center here. But I'll leave that in for now. So that's still strong enough to work around. So flatten this off a little bit more. And there we go. I don't have any V-cuts here, so I have to add them in. Let's see which curve will match. Maybe the 7. No. Just a 5 will do for now. For the bigger curves here. I'll try not to hit the camera again. Yep. And then I'll need a 7 for these curves. And there we go. Oops, that was too far. Bye, Happy. Thanks for watching. This is going to be tricky because it's already quite deep. So we'll probably have to come in from the sides like this. Bye, Leona. Might already be gone by the time I see you. Okay, guys, I think another 10 minutes or something, and then we'll call it a day. So that then our spiral is complete, or at least the roughing out of the spiral is complete. the right direction. Yep. Oops. Okay, let's take out the middle anyway. And there we go. I'll use the mat then because it's almost half a circle. That's a bit tricky if you use it straight on, and it might chip out since it's pretty small. Might have to block the camera for a little while just to get this done. There. It's always a little bit tricky when the curve gets really small like this. And there we go. Just clean this edge up here. So the smaller the curve gets, you really have to know the directions you should carve in. Well, you feel it anyway. It'll start to grab more and fight you a little bit. That means it's time to change direction. There we go. And maybe not go too deep in the middle. Like that. So there's obviously still a lot of cleanup needed and adding in the texture on those, well, I still call them waste parts. And then figure out some way to mount the clock in here. Or maybe I could have the hands coming in from the outside. If they make some clocks like that, clock mechanisms, I don't know. Let's maybe define this part already. Like that. And that's and then somewhere here. Wherever it's a nice round or a nice circle at the outside. Okay, let's call that good for now. Just gonna put these away so I don't have myself. And I'll give you a closer look at where I'm at. Yeah, that's weird. So let's go to the live view. So this will be 12 here, another 12 there, and then here. So it starts here and then it goes down. So I still have to do this. So everything here, starting from I think this side almost, you have to go down even deeper. And you see that? Maybe add some shadow like this. So there we go. The start of the clock. Thanks, Steve. Maybe I'll look for a mechanism to have the hands come in from the outside. That will probably look a lot nicer. Although they will hang over it a lot. I don't know. We'll see. Or maybe even stepped hands that can turn. That might be nice as well. So that's for like in 3 years probably. Annoyingly. Yeah, I only have this one camera set up, so I don't really have a live cam, so or for a face cam, I should say. So guys, thank you for watching, and girls, of course. I'll just hunker down a little bit. See you next time. Bye.